Played a couple at my weekly chess thing.
Right.
Like club or whatever, I guess.
But you didn't like take notation.
Yeah, but like I've never, as bad as it sounds like I've never done that. I don't.
Yeah, never take a notation?
No.
Does anybody take notation there?
Mm-mm. Everybody
It's
just
pretty
kind of
casual,
plays.
huh?
Yeah, it's pretty casual.
All right.
So yeah, I just never have. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you did, then we could look at the games. Just a suggestion.
Fair point.
It's not entirely necessary, but that is a good way to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I played one game today, this morning, just kind of anticipation of maybe we would play like a rapid.
Oh yeah,
Or
I
we would
see
look
what you
through
mean.
it.
It's only a 10-minute game though.
Yeah, it was a
Pretty
rapid.
fast one. We
Um,
could take a look at it if you want.
okay, yeah. I mean, hey, listen, I'm along for the ride, man. I'm letting you
Oh,
kind
all
of
right.
guide
Yeah,
me.
well, I'll invite you to the study, and then we can. I was going to show you some stuff about calculation
Okay,
and
great.
picking candidate moves.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'll add you to the study, and I'll just add your game to the end of the study. We'll take a look at it first.
Cool.
Let's see.
Um,
Yeah, 10-minute is pretty fast. Like usually about halfway through the game, it's already a blitz game.
yeah. um, yeah, and he like this. Neither of us were particularly great, and towards the end of it, he ended up blundering his queen. Uh,
hmm
but anyway, it's at least a game that I played this morning.
Yeah, definitely. So you're playing a London, good London, and he really wants E5, huh?
Yeah.
Dang, this guy is desperate to play E5. You know what I like to do when my opponent plays in a Chigorin style? This is kind of like a Chigorin defense. Is to play Bishop B5,
Okay.
pin the knight to control E5. This is like a big deal for white and black in this opening in the London because you're putting all your guys controlling E5.
Yep.
And also your white square bishop. Even in like more main lines, you can play bishop b5.
What I struggle with when that happens is, all right, so say I play b5.
All right,
They play a6.
snap it off. Double those pawns up.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
just ruin that pawn structure on that
Yeah,
side.
double pawns, isolated pawn. I mean, you gave up the bishop pair,
Yep.
but you got a lot in return, and they even wasted a tempo with a6. Like, how useless is that move?
Yeah.
They could play a5, bishop a6 later.
Right.
But-
Right.
Anyways, that would kind of waste two moves. Like, they wish their pawn was just on a7 then,
Yeah. Sure.
instead
Okay.
of playing a6 and a5. So it's kind of nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, I do it specifically if they put their knight in front of their pawn, so I can give them those double pawns, and this is like an extra bad structure because they've weakened their dark squares. If this pawn was back here, it'd be a little bit better.
Sure. Okay.
But c5 is permanently weak, so you can try to maneuver around in there. Oh, getting my arrows going here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
even,
makes sense.
Even this one too. Yeah, so I like to do that, and even like I'll show you in the main line. Magnus loves to do that. Let's say like this. And here, like this is the main line. I mean, the two main moves are bishop d3 and bishop b5.
Yeah.
Magnus has this position all the time, bishop b5.
And I think I primarily play the d3.
That's That's like the old main line. That's like the more normal way. Yeah, absolutely. You could totally do that here. And you never really have to play bishop b5. But I think after knight c6, it's even better.
Okay.
with the pawn still here on c7 because you could potentially get that structure that's really bad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But knight f3 doesn't look too bad. But yeah, they're really trying to get e5 going, huh?
Yeah.
Bishop b5 also would hamper that plan by taking the knight or pinning it.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, now h3, he does get in e5, which is probably okay for them. Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you'd just go back home.
Yeah, I probably should have. Because I looked back at this game after I was done, and I remembered having a reason, but it's not a very good reason. Clearly, because I
Attacking the
don't.
pawn?
Yeah, no, I don't remember what. I don't know what I was thinking.
I thought it was just to take the pawn.
Yeah, and I could have done it. It may have been for a battery type thing.
You know what I'd really do, actually, now that I'm looking at this? I'd give a little check and then just go back to d1.
So I think I did that in a few moves.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
ended up, yeah, I
Yeah.
moved the
See.
queen 3 times
Again.
in order to make to check. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
what was
Well,
that?
I like Queen G4. But yeah, here I probably wouldn't check anymore. Well, maybe you should have done it in the first place, and you're just facing.
Yeah,
I don't know. Oh, free pawn though,
I
right?
know. And it like
Ah,
as I was looking at this, I was like, again, I
ah.
looked back at it and I was like, well, that was
Right.
stupid.
Yeah, you had to play Queen F7, obviously.
Yeah,
Queen F7, buddy.
yeah.
What are you doing? But then you know what? You could trade everything off and then give them a pretty bad structure still, like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these are two weak pawns. They can't. They're backwards, both of them. They can't
Yeah,
be defended by a black pawn. So you'll definitely at least have some structure advantage here. And your
yeah.
bishop's going to be better than a knight in the long term.
Sure.
So yeah, this looks pretty nice for you. But yeah, now it's a free pawn. Oh, you missed it. Any block bishop?
Yeah. It again. Like I looked back at this and I was like, what was I doing
Yeah,
with that?
these
Like,
queen moves are crazy. You're gonna have to move it again.
well, I never like I very rarely take my queen out that early, and I think I just kind of got lost because I
Well,
just
they
didn't know
took
what to
your
do with it.
guy. That's why they just
Yeah.
gave you the bishop pair. But yeah, it's gonna cost you some time. And in fact, I think that H3 kind of wasted some time, and it
Yeah,
gave them some initiative.
I did that because I was concerned about G5.
G5, no, E5 is what he's doing.
Well, either one of them. Like I was concerned about
Oh.
that and getting trapped, right? So, but then I guess I could have gone back to
It's bad.
G3.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah,
problem? I mean, they could continue, but then yeah, we have to do something about it. But make them commit to H5. I mean,
yeah,
that'd be really risky for them to push on their kingside pawn. But yeah, he's clearly going for this one. Still, bishop b5 would be the move in my opinion.
okay,
But this even it shouldn't be so bad for you. Just they clearly have some initiative, and they arrange their pawns all on white squares in the center, which is really nice for them because they've got a dark square bishop.
yeah,
But yeah, they blundered the thing, and then here, didn't really expect that. Okay, that doesn't seem too bad. Just goes back. Okay, that seems pretty normal. You gotta try to get this bishop out of here.
yeah. He stayed there for a while, if I remember correctly.
Yeah?
It's because I put the queen on E2.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, like
I noticed that was the problem, yes.
Minor detail.
Definitely. But hey, also, here's a minor detail. You're attacking that pawn twice, and he just didn't defend it. So why don't you take it? Is it a trick? I mean, I don't really see a trick.
No, I don't.
Maybe you were thinking queen d5, but you could just go back knight c3. You know, maybe you thought here, that's scary.
Yeah,
But yeah, knight c3.
I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just didn't see it.
You didn't see it. You played here last turn. How'd you not see that? What was the point of your move?
I don't know.
You know? What was the point of your move?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is why I wanted a slower time control. You're making irrational decisions because you've got no increment and it's 10 minutes.
Well, I don't know. Everything always looks. Yeah. Okay. I remember playing that. Yeah. Okay.
Now it's good.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
like it now. Yeah.
I remembered after I did it, I was like, wait a minute, I was supposed to have done this last move. Like, you know, as I was like calculating it in my head, like, wait a
Maybe
minute.
you just thought he'd play f5.
I don't.
I mean, that's the
Yeah,
move.
which
Play
would have been
F5.
the move, right?
Yeah, f5 like g4. Yeah, this is normal stuff. Then you could even put your bishop here. You don't look totally ridiculous, actually. It's a kind of normal position. Yeah. But anyways, you both missed it for a move, but then you remembered about it.
Yeah.
Then
it is
he
what
was
it is.
just goes off the rails here. Now I guess this was a mouse slip. I don't know. It's probably you meant to take this. I mean, who would go here? That's defended 3 times by black
I don't know.
and only once by
And
white.
only once. Yeah.
And this wins a pawn and attacks the knight. He would just go back with his knight.
Well, that pawn is still chilling there.
I mean, this is what a joke position this would be. Wow.
Yeah, that's not good.
Oh, right in the kisser. The knight thinks it's pretty good. It's like, dang, I can't move at all. That's pretty imposing center. This move looks pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That's a
I don't
crazy
know what
time.
I don't know what I did.
Lost the pawn. I mean, this looks good for black now.
Yeah, I don't know
This
what
looks
I
great
did.
for black. Yeah, come on, that's crazy. Here, d4, interesting. Trying to spice it up, huh?
This is when he blundered his
Oh
queen.
yeah, hung the.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, had to take the queen first, and then knight d4, and then black is probably
Yeah.
all right. It's just equal, but you're better because you have a bishop. It's better than a knight here for sure.
Yeah.
But dang, luckily they just blundered it away. Hooray!
Yeah, and then it got worse.
Hung that, and then he went full
Yeah.
check there.
Then he just lost his mind.
Classic Ivanchuk. Right.
So anyway, that was my most recent one. Obviously, some mess ups there.
Yeah, definitely, but it was too fast of a time control.
So
You
play.
gotta play a slower one, 15 plus 15.
Okay.
That's the way to go. You know, you're making irrational decisions. I mean, who would play e5 in that position?
Yeah.
You know, you probably had like 2 minutes left. You're just banging out e5. You know, let ed.
Yeah, I don't remember how much time there was, but
Yeah.
it just it just wasn't a good decision.
I wish that Lichess told you the time. They should be able to. Sometimes they do. Like sometimes the time pops up for a second.
Well, and it does on my tablet when I'm playing on my tablet and I go back and analyze it.
Right.
It actually says how long, but maybe if you like import it into a study, it doesn't. I don't know.
Right. It's weird.
Anyway,
But all right, let's take a look at the stuff I had prepared for you. Huh?
cool.
First one here. This is a pretty good one. One of my own games. Actually, I had black, but it's white to play. Let's try to figure out the best move for white.
Mm. Do you want me to kind of do like we had been in terms of like initially what I?
Yeah. Why don't you tell me about some candidate moves for white first of all?
First thing I see is like I want to break out. I want to break down their center. So the first thing that pops up at me is rook f to d1, with the idea that I'll then take bishop takes c5, and then if he takes, I'll retake the bishop.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, also rook fd1 just threatens rook takes d6.
Sure, yeah.
Sort of forcing move. I like it.
Yeah. And then I'd probably double up my rooks, I guess. I don't know, maybe not. Then I would I would expect them to play e4 at some point.
That's a good candidate move for black. What else could black try after rook fd1?
Well, they could go queen c6 or rook f6. Protect the d pawn.
Sure, but what about some more forcing moves, first of all? Forcing moves first.
They could go f4. They could go. Let's see. What else we got? I don't know. I don't know why I would do it, but queen e4.
It's
I don't
not
know
forcing.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what that would do for me.
Well, all right. So you found some good candidate moves for black after rook fd1.
Yeah.
Why don't you analyze them a bit?
Let's take f4 first.
All right, threatening the bishop, huh?
Yep.
Rude. How rude of black to do that, interfering with your plans, I guess.
Totally uncalled for.
So what are white's options after f4?
Uh, GF.
It's one option.
Um, I could go bishop back to d2 or c1.
Good, but it's not very
There's
forcing.
not. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. Uh, I don't know. I'm not seeing anything else.
Not rook takes d6.
Oh, sure. Well, we originally talked about. Why not?
Yeah, it hits the bishop. At least it's an option.
Yeah.
So, all right, after rook fd1, f4, you've got a couple candidate moves for white. GF as well as rook takes d6. Which one do you want to look at first?
We'll do rook takes d6.
All right, well, what are black's options after that?
Rook or queen d1 is an option. Queen b7, rook b7.
You said rook or queen d1, or you meant queen d8?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my apologies.
Those aren't really moves to play for black. That's not what black would do. There's no way in this variation rook fd1, f4 takes that. There's no way black would play rook or queen d8. You know, that's, you gotta look at your forcing moves first. Like rook, queen d8, that would be crazy to see that. I'd be like, what? That's what I would think if you played queen d8 or rook d8.
Well, I was just, I guess I was thinking it would protect the bishop.
Yeah, but you gotta look at your forcing moves first. If that's the best black has, white should do it then. That's already good for white.
Yeah.
You took the pawn and just made him play a passive move. That's gonna probably be good for white.
Well, I mean, then, I guess just move the bishop. We could go a4. I guess it could go c6.
Can you move your bishop to make a threat? You're moving your bishop to random legal squares. Which I understand, but if there's a threatening square, that's probably better.
I don't know where the bishop goes. I mean, if he goes, nothing good happens on e8 or c8.
You're right.
I mean, c6 doesn't do a whole lot, I guess,
Right.
except for bishop to g2.
That's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, b5 is going to get taken by the pawn, and then a4. I don't see any other legal moves.
Because you forgot the first move black played in this variation.
Oh, yeah. Forgot he went to f4.
Exactly. Allowing the bishop to go to h3.
To h3, yeah.
Threatening mate in 1.
Yep.
Queen g2 mate. And we can already stop looking at this because it's lost. Mate's threatened and the bishop on e3 is threatened.
Yep. So that's bad.
Yeah, so we have to improve for white. What move are we going to improve on?
Within that same variation? Or are you saying a different move?
Well, I mean, we have to abandon that variation, so we can't use that variation anymore, but we have to improve somewhere.
So the other option was f4.
F4?
Isn't that the other thing for white? Isn't that the other thing I gave you?
You never said white should do that, but I was thinking we could improve on the move rook d6, maybe. Remember, we played this variation that was losing.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
We already decided this is winning. So the last move we could change is rook d6. So rook d1, f4, instead of rook d6, what was the other candidate move?
Bishop c5.
Well, we didn't. We didn't talk about that, but that could be a different candidate move. But the candidate move we were talking about was GH before that. When we had decided on f4, rook d6, or GH were the two moves.
You mean you're talking about GF?
Or GF, right?
Okay.
GF.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So rook d1, f4, rook d6. We saw lost to bishop h3.
Yeah.
But GF would be your other option. Although bishop c5 is the third option that you just found. Sometimes you find new candidate moves.
Well, and that's because I thought we were still with the rook on d1. That's why I was giving you those moves.
We are.
Okay. Yeah. So if the rook's on d1,
rook fd1, f4. This is the variation. And now I'm saying instead of rook d6, which lost to bishop h3, instead of that, we have to improve on rook d6.
Yeah.
So the rook is still on d1. So your option of bishop c5 is totally reasonable.
Which was because that was my original thought, right? Because then if he goes dc, then I can take the bishop.
So let's look at bishop c5 first then.
Okay.
What else would black do? I mean, I agree that d takes c5 doesn't make sense. So we have to find a better candidate move for black after that.
So then black takes e3.
We were saying bishop takes c5. We can't take e3.
Oh, yeah. Bishop
Sorry. C5.
I'm getting all wrapped around the axle. So one is queen c8, hitting that bishop. But then I'm just going to white's going to take d6 and can't really do anything about it. So maybe b8, queen b8.
Remember to try to find forcing moves, right? Queen b8 doesn't threaten anything. And anyways, bishop takes d6 would fork your bishop or your queen and rook. So what other forcing move could black play? I was thinking the same forcing move that we met rook takes d6 with.
Let's see.
Yeah, it was rook fd1, f4, rook d6. What did black play there?
G3. Wasn't that bishop G3?
Bishop h3, yes.
H3, sorry.
Absolutely. Bishop h3, yeah. And I think in the same variation, rook fd1, f4, bishop c5, we could play the same move.
Yeah, and that's still winning for mate in one
Yeah,
for
bishop
black.
h3 still wins.
Yeah.
Exactly. Threatening mate on g2 and threatening the bishop on c5 because we unpinned
Yep.
yet again. So bishop c5 still doesn't work there. So we have to look at that third candidate move. Rook f d1, f4,
And then GF.
yeah, gf. So what would black play after that, do you think?
I mean, I guess EF.
Yeah, I think definitely, right? I mean, that hits the queen and the bishop.
Yep.
Winning.
Yep.
So this is all winning for black. This is speaking to the strength of f4. f4 with the idea of bishop h3 is extremely powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It threatens a lot of things. The bishop, the mate. Well, if you don't move the rook, then the rook. But you even did move the rook, and it was still threatening.
Yeah.
So this happens a lot when you're calculating. Like, you just can't get past the move in a certain variation. You have to try to avoid that move. What could white do? What forcing move could white play? Still have to play a forcing move for white to avoid f4 being so strong.
I mean, they could play F4 themselves.
That's not a forcing move, though. It does make f4 illegal,
Yeah.
but it loses a piece to the same way as before, really. You know, EF,
Yeah.
same piece loss there. And f4 obviously looks extremely risky anyway. Like, no calculation necessary. f4 looks pretty risky.
I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this position. Let's see. So basically, what we're trying to prevent F4.
Well, you can't really prevent it. I mean, I guess you could by playing bishop f4 or f4 yourself. You just have to make a move to make it less powerful.
Um,
And at the same time, make a threat. And then you're really fighting for the initiative.
Yes, the making the threat that's. Um, I'm just not seeing it.
Well, you could probably find some other threatening moves other than rook f d1. So what other candidate moves could you consider? Just for forcing moves. Never mind f4 even.
Um, H5 seems stupid.
It's not forcing.
Yeah.
It doesn't threaten anything.
I mean, bishop H6 just loses a bishop.
But again, bishop h6 doesn't threaten anything. There's no threat after bishop h6. You know, you're attacking a piece that's defended, and it's just going to be a trade. So that's not a threat. Like, here's a forcing move. Queen d4. It threatens the d6 pawn, which is just hanging. Queen d4 attacks the d6 pawn. That's why it's a threat. I'll take it for free if you let me. That's why rook fd1 was a forcing move. I wouldn't really recommend queen d4. That's an
Yeah.
awful move.
Well, that's why, clearly I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you could suggest rook a d1, queen d2. Those are all forcing moves. There's other ways to attack the d pawn even. My opponent missed bishop g5.
I looked at that, and I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just didn't see anything else.
Well, it's a forcing move. What's the threat?
E7?
Yeah, bishop e7 wins a pawn.
Yeah.
So if it's white's turn, white would play this threat, or execute this threat, and win material for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see
And
that.
this is why bishop g5 is a forcing move when a move like, for example, h5 isn't. I mean, you could play hg, but that's just a trade.
Yeah.
Bishop g5 threatens to actually win a whole pawn or exchange, whichever one you want to give up.
Yeah.
And that should be enough to keep a pretty sizable advantage, probably winning. Because if you notice here, white is up the exchange.
Yeah.
It also avoids f4 hitting the bishop. f4 still could be played. Bishop h3 is the threat now. If black plays bishop h3, that wins an exchange. It would probably be equal because, down an exchange to start. So
Yeah.
But so you can move out of the way. Bishop h3 makes one threat, but we can stop the one threat.
Mm-hmm.
And now white didn't give up the exchange or get mated or lose the bishop. Avoided all the threats.
All three of those are good.
Yeah, definitely. Didn't lose nothing. Kept it all together. But bishop g5 is a tough move. You have to understand black's idea and understand this is a forcing move.
I just didn't see it as a forcing move. I saw the move,
Right.
but I didn't.
That is a key point.
Yeah, I didn't see the continuation, I guess, is the best
Definitely.
way to explain it.
Because otherwise he'd be getting stuck out here.
Yeah, then it's like,
But you
I looked at it, I was like,
play that. Right.
it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually played queen d3 in the game. Played f4 anyway and bishop h3, but now I just win the exchange. The rook is hanging and mate is hanging, so you have to stop mate.
Yeah.
And now it's equal, but I won. Yay. Yeah. So interesting position, definitely a tough answer there with bishop g5.
Yeah, that was
But I
tough.
think the idea is pretty clear. Avoiding
Yeah,
that the forcing move.
it makes sense. Like I said, I just didn't see
Definitely.
the continuation of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's called learning. Learning is fun. I mean, I dropped out of college, but All right, so this one's a little bit double-edged, Tom. White to play. I'll let you think about it and tell me what you're thinking here.
Very first thing I see is queen d5. I mean, queen e5. Putting some amount of pressure on the bishop and the rook.
All right. Good candidate move.
Well, but I mean, then rook goes to e6, and
Well, that's not a good suggestion for black.
well, wouldn't everything? Well, I guess I couldn't do that. That's an illegal move.
Agreed.
Yeah. So white queen e5, b5, preparing c6. Queen g4.
Check. So some pretty good forcing moves or candidate moves so far. All right, let's analyze some of them. What do you think white would play? What's the first move you want to look at?
Queen e5 was the first thing I saw.
All right, what candidate moves would black have after that? Queen e5.
Just moving the bishop somewhere. Um, Bishop D1, hitting the pawn on A4.
All right. Anything else for black?
Um, Pawn F2,
It seems like a good
trying to
idea
promote.
to promote. Yeah. I mean, that threatens to make a queen.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
a
a
good
pretty
thing.
forcing move, right? That's a good candidate move to promote your pawn, your passed pawns. You know, that's definitely a way to go. In fact, if I was analyzing this and I was analyzing queen e5, f2, I would think, okay, well, hold on, let me analyze that first because f2 might be winning.
Yeah.
So after f2, what would white do?
Um, she's on E5. Um, that's tricky. There's not a whole lot to do.
Yeah, in fact, I think we already can
Yeah.
reject queen e5.
Now now that I look at it, I kind of want to go like King C2. I don't know what like. No, you know what? That's tricky down there with the bishop and the pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because part of me wants to go see, King C2, get unpinned. Well, I guess I'm not pinned.
Yeah, I was like, what? Say what?
That was stupid.
Well, anyways, he's
Uh,
gonna play f2 after any rando move, right?
yeah. I mean, the other option is for queen to F2, but then the queen's just. I mean, yeah, it's occupying two pieces, but kind of stuck.
Right. Queen f2 might be a candidate move, but yeah, you're right that it's a little passive. But what if white wants to do something more active? Can't really do a forcing move that makes too much sense here. Maybe check, but could easily be blocked. But what if white tries to make a queen? White could do that too.
Well, that's why I said B5.
Right.
Preparing C6.
But you could just play c6.
But if I play C6, he just takes C6, right? With his rook. No, because
No way. Classic pin. Pin part 2, right? Am I right?
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, c6 would be the most logical move then.
yeah, sure.
Well, then let's analyze it. c6, then black would play.
Um, well, in order to not be pinned, like, is he gonna want? Does he want to get his rook out?
What do you think black wants to do?
I mean, get his rook to the C file, I guess. But
I think he wants to queen. He's 2 squares away from
oh
queen.
yeah, I guess he wins that race, doesn't he?
Well, I don't know. We got to calculate it a little bit. It seems pretty complicated to me.
All right, so C6,
Mm-hmm.
F2. Um, Queen would pretty much have to take F2, right? Then Rook F2, then C7. And then there's really then Bishop G4. No.
Check.
Yeah, Bishop G.
Bishop g4 check. Good move. Easily winning for black.
Yeah.
White wouldn't play queen takes f2. That's not going to work. After c6, f2, why can't he just keep pushing?
Well, isn't he going to lose? Wouldn't he lose that race?
But here's what you're doing wrong. You're evaluating the position before analyzing it. Just play, like, say the moves and play them out in your head, and then evaluate. You're doing it backwards. You can't evaluate that without looking at it. It's impossible. So I'll say the moves for you if you want. C7, F1 queen, C8 queen. All right, there you go. Now you're at that position. Who's winning?
I don't know. White's winning.
Definitely.
Yeah.
White's just up material. Up a
Just
queen
two
and a pawn
queens.
for rook
Yeah.
and bishop. Yeah, I mean, black queen's first, but white's winning. I mean, white's still queens and has more material.
Yeah.
So you got to just look through the
Just did
forcing
it
moves.
backwards.
Yeah, before you evaluate it. And this is how the game went. C6, F2, C7, queen, queen, and white won. However, both sides have made a mistake in that variation, although it seems like the most normal moves. C6, F2, C7. Black doesn't have to queen right away. You'll notice that there's no way white can stop black from queening without giving
No.
up the queen. But that's fine. I mean, if you give up the queen, that's the same as me queening.
So does black go c6?
Rook c6?
I mean rook c6. God, what the fuck?
It's
Yes,
pinned. It's
rook
pinned
c6.
again. Still pinned. Third, now you can
hell?
claim a draw because you forgot 3 times in a
Yeah.
row.
Yeah, it's a draw by repetition.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
But he can stop
So
the c
stupid.
pawn just without the pinned rook.
Yeah, so I mean bishop g4,
I probably
but
wouldn't
then
play that right
then
now.
queen takes g4.
Right. So you're going to have to go the other direction.
Oh yeah, okay, so a6.
Right. Exactly. And that position is not winning for white, which is actually why c6, f2, c6 is a mistake, f2, c7, bishop a6 would have been a draw. And white's actually kind of lucky to draw because this is not queening and this is.
Yeah.
So white only has a draw by perpetual, sort of fortunately. Check and queen check. See this check? The queen protects it so you can take
Mhm.
back and perpetual check.
Gotcha.
If he goes here, queen check forces the rook back there to protect the pawn.
And then another perpetual.
Yeah. So bishop a6 would have been exclam, but like I said, the game did proceed with queening.
Okay.
Queen g2, queen c2. Safe. Really
Yeah.
safe. But bishop a6 would have been okay. So c6 doesn't win because of that variation with bishop a6. But white is winning with another candidate move that you did suggest. After any rando move, black is going to play f2 with an unstoppable queen. You know, this is much like the first example when f4 is like such a huge threat. We have to vary our game around our opponent's threat. That was too powerful of a threat, so we had to avoid it. Well, it's still kind of threatening. And that's why you have to play queen f2.
Queen f2.
You just
Again,
have
like
to.
you see it, but it just looks. Yeah, it stops the f pawn, but it looks like you're just sticking your queen in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, like your queen will never be able to move
Yeah.
again. So, what's the plan for white? I mean, like, let's say black does nothing.
Well, I mean, to me, the plan is get your king and your 3 pawns and cruise on down the board.
Yeah, you got to try to promote the pawn.
Yeah.
You can't play c6 now. It's actually not pinned. This would have been a legal suggestion.
Yeah.
So white would definitely play what move next if it was white's turn?
b5.
Definitely, definitely. So now you know what black played or should play. This variation didn't happen in the game, but in order to prevent b5.
A6.
Bingo. Now you can't play b5. I'll take it twice. And then you'll never get your pawn going after that.
Yep.
So that's too bad. Now your king can't really help either, can he? He can't protect that square. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Illegal. Your queen could help, but whenever she moves, it's time for f2, f1. So what is white to do?
From this position?
Yeah. You gotta find a good plan now. The forcing moves and ideas are over because both sides stopped the opponents from doing what they wanted. But how do you win without the queen? It's like impossible. Imagine black just goes back and forth. That's why you need to use the queen. You just need to pull the old switcheroo. Classic. This is like a textbook out of Think Like a Grandmaster. The old switcheroo. Chapter 2. You gotta put your king here. You gotta get your king close enough, move your queen with check, replace with the king. Then your queen could easily help.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like one of my first thoughts was, well, I feel like I need to get the king over there, but I didn't.
Out.
Yeah, but I didn't have the time without putting the queen on f2.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. You need to buy the time with queen f2 because black can't do anything anyway. Black's only got this, got nothing going on anywhere else on the board, and you have all the time in the world now if you just block his pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what about if he played f2 here? What would white do after f2?
King take e2?
Maybe. Maybe. What would black play after that?
They'd queen.
Yeah. Then
That's not good.
Resigns, yeah. So he can't play king 2 after f2. So what other candidate move would white try?
f6? Would that buy you the time?
Oh, queen takes f6?
Queen takes f6.
And after king takes?
Then king takes e2.
Looks winning to me.
Man, why you gotta drop a queen sacrifice on me?
Classic queen sack.
Why you gotta do that?
Is it really a sacrifice? You take this, that, and the other.
Yeah, well, but I'm just like, at least for me, like it's so ingrained that like.
Don't give up your best piece.
Yeah. Like I mean, protect your queen at all costs unless you're trading.
Right. Well, yeah, this is taking a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And that endgame is going to probably be a win. Pass pawns all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So black can't really do it. Now, white's got two options. Although white could, like, theoretically just go back and take his time. But of these two moves, one of them is winning and one doesn't win. Even loses. So which is which?
I feel like you got to go to e1.
All right, but don't evaluate before you calculate. right?
So king e1, f2. Then I guess you're still kind of messed up. Because, yeah, king e1, f2, and then you've got to move the king. If you move the king up to king takes e2, then f1 queen, and you're in the same boat you were last time.
Mm-hmm.
So if king e3, then f2, then queen has to take f2.
Well, that's illegal. You play king e3, f2. You can't play queen takes f2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I said. So then king takes e2.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have the king on e2, pawn on f2.
Still f1 queen. That's the same either way.
Yeah.
But there is a difference. King e1 loses because f2 is check. So you have to take the bishop and then f1 queen. If you play king e3, f2 is not check. So white would not play king e2. White could play similar to the variation we looked at previously by sacking the queen.
Yeah.
Same variation as before.
Yep.
Easy win. But yeah, this
Yep.
doesn't work after king e1 because it's check.
Because then you're check.
So you can't play
Yeah.
queen takes check. That would be a good move. Queen takes check. Illegal.
I think my intuition was basically like, I got to get pieces closer to where
They're queening.
bad things are happening.
Right, definitely. Oh yeah, I think king e1's definitely more normal. It just doesn't work because of the check this time. Like, who
Yeah.
wants to block their queen from this? But it just tactically works. You got to look out for tactics number one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you definitely have to calculate before you evaluate the position, though. You're stuck in that habit. You're like, this move looks better. I think it's just right. No, come on, analyze it, like, for real. I had to push you to, like, push the pawn. I'm like, just analyze that position. Evaluate it after the queen. So you're like, oh yeah, white's winning. I was like, come on. Yeah, he queens first, but you're winning.
I just didn't take it all the way.
That's what she said. All right, let's see if we can start up this last one, huh?
Yep.
It's a pretty cool one. Yeah, we could probably get a move or two through it. Black to play.
Black to play. First thought is knight e3.
Whoa.
Kind of making him feel like he has to take. If he doesn't, okay, but if he does, then I've got bishop e3, forking the king and the knight.
Well, white is guarding e3 twice, though. I think you're missing one of the defenders.
Oh, I didn't see the knight going backwards. There's still something, even if that happens, even if the knight goes backwards, and there's still something with rook c3.
That's defended too.
Attacking his rook. But then I would still have my. Oh, I guess I wouldn't still have my knight because I moved my knight up. Unless I didn't. Um, Bishop A3 is defended.
Tough to find candidate moves, huh?
Yeah, there's really. Yeah.
There is a pretty good forcing move, though, to think about. You thought about some forcing moves I saw, but they didn't quite work out. But keep looking. Keep trying to find those forcing moves. Keep trying to find those threats. There aren't any good checks or captures right away, but there are some good threats to consider here for black. It's definitely what you need to work on the most, finding threats.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. In my club stuff, I've kept saying, like, I can't find the checkmate. You know what I mean? Like, I can't find the attack. Like, I have a really hard time with that, and I don't know how to work on it.
Oh, it's definitely got to be tactics training.
Okay.
Solving those quick. I mean, you got to solve more tactics.
I go up and down on the tactics. Like, I'll lose or gain 100 points in a day. It's like,
but yeah, it's important to be consistent because tactics reward you for finding threats. Usually, your tactic's going to be a check, capture, or threat.
So, what about knight to f4?
Really good move. What's the threat?
Bishop takes f3.
And then after G takes, I guess.
Then knight h3.
Almost. You got a better knight check than that.
Oh, then e2.
Forkaroo.
Yeah.
Classic. Yes, exactly. Knight f4 threatens the fork after removing the guard of the fork.
Yeah.
The bishop. Just trade that bishop. How nice is that? The knight opens up for the bishops to be traded and threatens as well where the bishop needs to be traded in order to go. So really nice. Knight f4. In fact, there aren't any other good forcing moves. And knight f4 makes more than one threat because there's also a loose f-pawn that you could try to get your fork on.
Yep.
Knight f4 exclam. Yeah, really good.
At least we ended on a good note, right?
Yeah, you spotted that one. I think that you definitely learned a lot from those first two chapters, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you leave this up so I can go back and look at them, right?
Oh, certainly.
Okay.
Absolutely. Also, you should even be able to clone it if you wanted. I could teach you how to clone real quick if you want to learn about that.
Sure. Yeah.
So you see, like, under the chessboard, it says sync and record.
Yep.
And then all the way to the right, there's, like, it looks like a triangle almost of dots. It's like 3 dots. It's not really a triangle, but it's like an open mouth triangle. Yeah. And one of the options should be clone.
Oh, nice. Okay.
If you click on it. Yeah, but if I were you, I'd wait till after we're all done, so then you could have, I don't know if it clones all of the moves or what. You'll have, like, all the moves after we're done with it.
Cool.
And I'll leave it up for, like, a few weeks afterwards. I don't delete them right away. But I will delete them eventually. So you gotta clone them eventually, you know.
Okay, I gotcha.
All right. What about next week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, sounds good. I guess I'll talk to you then.
All right, man. Appreciate your help.
Take it easy. Bye.
All right, see you.